This is Chapter 8, Part 3. We are supposed to read the label below and find out how many milligrams of lidocaine are in 5 milligrams. If you look at this, you can first see that it's 4% solution. But remember, this is grams and milliliters when you're talking about here. We are talking about milligrams here. So if there's a way to avoid having to do that conversion, we should. So you keep looking at your label, and you see here that each milliliter contains 40 milligrams. That's in milligrams and what we want. So I'm going to use this relationship instead of this one. This one takes into account the conversion for into grams. I'm trying to figure out how much is in 5 milliliters. So I start off with the 5 milliliters. I'm going to put that over 1 times. For each milliliter, there is 40 milligrams. I want to cancel out milliliters, so I'm going to put that in the bottom. And there are 40 milligrams in the top. The milliliters cancel. And you have 5 times 40, which would be 200 milligrams. Okay, so problem 10. How many milliliters of a 20% magnesium sulfate solution will contain 40 grams of magnesium? Okay. So I want to have 40 grams of magnesium. So that's what I want, 40 grams. I'm going to put that over 1. Okay. We're looking for milliliters, and we know it's a 20% solution. So this is going to be 20 out of 100, and this is this would be grams over milliliters, right? Well, that's the same thing as 1 over 5. 1 gram for every 5 milliliters. All I've done is reduce that fraction. So if I'm trying to get rid of grams, I'm going to put the 1 gram in the bottom. Okay. And then I'm going to put the 5 milliliters in the top. Okay. The grams cancel. I have 5 times 40, which is 200 milliliters as our solution. Okay, number 11. How many milliliters of a 1 to 40 acetic acid solution will contain 25 milliliters of acetic acid? Okay, so again, I have liquids and liquids, so I'm going to need to keep track of whether I'm talking about the solution or the acid. Okay, I want to have 25 milliliters of the acid. Okay, this means 1 part acid to 40 parts solution. Okay, I'm going to put this over 1. We're trying to find out how many milliliters of the solution. So I'm trying to get rid of the milliliters of acid. So I'm going to use 1 in the bottom down here, and that's milliliters of the acid. And I'm going to put the 40 milliliters of the solution up here. Okay. So the milliliters of acid cancels out on both of these. So I end up with 25 times 40, which is 1,000 milliliters of the solution. And we have our answers. Okay, number 12. How many milliliters of the solution contains 10 milligrams of the drug? If you look right here, the relationship is there are 4 milligrams of the drug for every 5 milliliters of the solution. Okay, we want to have 10 milligrams, I'm sorry, I had that off the screen, 10 milligrams of the drug. Okay, so 10 milligrams is what I'm trying to convert. I'm trying to cancel out the milligrams so I can end up with milliliters. So I'm going to put the 4 milligrams in the bottom. and put the 5 milliliters in the top. Okay, so now I'm going to, this cancels out. I get 50 over 4 milliliters, and 50 divided by 4 is 12.5. So that's 12.5 milliliters of the solution contains 10 milligrams of the drug. All right, number 13. Using a full-strength hydrogen peroxide solution, how would you prepare 300 milliliters of strength solution? There's a critical number left out of that one. So let's skip this problem and go on to 14, because we would need to know how strong that hydrogen peroxide solution is in order to be able to work. Okay, number 14. How many ounces of a quarter strength Sustacal solution can be made from a 12-ounce can of full strength Sustacal? Okay, so I want a quarter strength Sustacal. Okay, so what am I going to do? I'm going to take that 12 ounces of the Sustacal. Okay, times, let's use this as our relationship. There's going to be 1 ounce of Sustacal for 4 ounces of the solution. Okay, so if I take the 12 ounces of Sustacal and I want to cancel this out, so I want to put this over 1, and I'm going to put 1 ounce of the Sustacal in the bottom and 4 ounces of the solution in the bottom, in the top, so that this cancels and this cancels. I have 12 times 4, so I have 48 ounces of the solution. So if I'm trying to take this and I water it down to a quarter strength, then I'm going to end up with 48 ounces of the whole solution. Okay, number 15. How would you prepare 240 milliliters of a 2/3 strength Ensure from full strength Ensure? Which size can of Ensure would you use in order to minimize the amount of discarded Ensure if the supply consists of 8 and 12 ounce cans? Okay, so I want a 2/3 strength solution and I want to have this much of it. So 240 milliliters, okay, of the solution. Okay, this means there are going to be 2 parts of Ensure for 3 parts of the solution. So I'm trying to get rid of the solution. The first thing I need to figure out is how much Ensure I'm going to need total. Okay, so this is 3 milliliters of the solution, and I'm going to have 2 milliliters of the Ensure. Okay, now what happens here is the milliliters of solution cancels and cancels. If I divide this by 3, I get a 1. If I divide this by 3, I get an 80. Multiply across, and I need 160 milliliters of Ensure. Okay, so that's how much I need of the Ensure in order to mix it all up and everything. How many cans can I use? Well, I don't want to use a whole lot of cans, so I'm going to use as many of the 12-ounce cans as I possibly can, maybe. Let's get an idea of what this is. So if I do 160 divided by 12, I could use 13 cans of the 12 ounce. I'm just kind of playing around on paper here and see what I get. That would give me, if I do 13 times 12, that will get me to 156 ounces, and I need 4 more. So I could use 13 cans of the 12 ounce and then 1 can of the 8, and I'd have 4 ounces left over. Okay, so that's one option. But then I decide, well, maybe if I go down to 12 cans of the 12 ounces, maybe it will work out better. And this is just sort of playing around. So that would give me 144 ounces total, and I need 160. So 160 minus 144 is 16. So if I use 12 12-ounce cans, I need 16 more ounces, which is precisely 2 8-ounce cans. So this is going to work out perfectly with no leftover. So I'm going to use 12 cans of the 12-ounce and 2 cans of the 8-ounce, and that should get me there exactly.